We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing? I asked that already.
You did.
I started by that. It always feels weird not to ask you back, but that's because I ask you first, but it doesn't feel like I am asking you first because that's just what I say at the top of the show. Does that make sense?
Yes, Jared, it does.
All right. We actually, let's get slobby. Yes, let's talk about the slobs. But before we do that, it's a new tradition. It's a good tradition. There we go. All right, Kyle. Today we're going to fix the offensive line. People don't have to thank us. We're public servants. Please hold your applause until the end, but we're going to fix the offensive line today. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're fixing the offensive line. What do you want to do?
There's a lot of linemen out there. There's a lot of linemen out there.
In the portal?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about the portal first then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the portal first. In fact, let me get over to the correct screen. All right. I've collected these are the confirmed portal targets from Ohio State. What does confirmed targets mean? Someone reputable, and these are from a bunch of different people, so apologies for not crediting people, but I don't know who reported what first. But reported by credible people that Ohio State has at the very least reached out to these individuals. Josh Thompson, for example, has a scheduled visit, a visit. Kyle, I can't word. He has a visit scheduled. He has a visit scheduled. All right.
A scheduled visit.
That also works. I'm going to take a quick mental. All right. Yeah. I believe Dylan Thieneman is also has a visit scheduled. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little scared to say it that time. They're going after the offensive line. They're going after the offensive line, and I think Ryan Day said they were going to do that because he was asked during his National Signing Day press conference about fixing the offensive line. He said they're going to be aggressive in the transfer portal, and judging by who we have confirmed that they have reached out to, that does in fact appear to be the case. Tackle/guard Josh Thompson from Northwestern, a tackle/guard named Gunnar Hansen from Vanderbilt. Both of these guys highly experienced, both at guard and tackle, going to bring some versatility in. I think that's what makes these two guys in particular very attractive. You could see Ohio State bring in 3 or 4 offensive linemen out of the portal this cycle. And having 1 or 2 of those guys be skilled enough and versatile enough to play in or out is going to, be a huge advantage when you're trying to rebuild an offensive line over a summer. But Kyle, we got a couple Ohio kids on the list. Any thoughts on them?
I mean, honestly, the big thing here is just it's the offensive line. To me, it doesn't matter if it's somebody in Ohio.
Sure. But if you're trying to
outside,
if you're trying to convince someone to leave the portal, to join your team out of the portal, like you pull on, you play the come home card, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, we're sorry we didn't recruit you the first time, but it's time to come home. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right? It helps.
Sometimes that works. I mean, it can help.
There are a lot of guys out there. And if you think you can get, say, Taran Tayo, I'm probably mispronouncing that, I apologize, who's been playing in Louisville for a couple years, say, hey, time to come home. I don't have, these guys aren't confirmed targets, but I'm going to name check them anyway. Some other Ohio kids they're looking at in the transfer portal from Pitt, interior offensive lineman Terrence Moore, offensive tackle Xavier Gray from Liberty is another Ohio offensive lineman who I think could come in and at the very least compete for a starting job, depending upon who else they bring out of the portal. I think both. I think Xavier Gray could probably start for Ohio State, in the playoff game if they had him. But that's not how this works, unfortunately. We won't see these guys come in until next year. Outside of the offensive line room, you have Terrence Stewart, who has been killing things up at Bowling Green. He's from the Sandusky area. He's in the portal. Ohio State is looking for, and this is, of course, assuming that everyone leaves who we expect to leave. Judkins doesn't necessarily have to leave. I think that is the expectation right now is that he's gonna, though. So if that's in fact the case, I think Terrence Stewart's an excellent option. But yeah, there's lots and unlike last year. Last year, there were not a lot of Ohio State quality offensive linemen in the portal. This year, I really don't think that's the case. I mean, I don't want to just stand here and just start yelling names at everybody. That's not a good podcast. I have a full list of people who I think are potential targets in the Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. If you want to come and analyze the list. And like I said, up on the screen right now, I do have confirmed targets. I haven't mentioned Isaiah World yet. He's on the confirmed targets list. He's one of the best pass blockers in the country out of Nevada. Interior lineman Luke Belenko. Once again, I am mispronouncing that, I am sure. Been playing at Stanford, also at Liberty, but this time on the interior part of the offensive line. You have Jordan White. That's another confirmed target. On the defensive side, Kyle, who do we have? Because there are some defensive targets as well. Ohio State's going to be putting a lot of defensive players into the NFL this year. And I really like the guys who are replacing them. I don't think Ohio State has any glaring holes. I feel like they have good edge rushers to come in and replace the edge rushers. Depth along the defensive line is, however, an issue. So that might need addressed. I like the starting linebackers coming in. I like the starting safeties, the starting corners coming in. So even though you are losing a lot of people, I do really like the second string defense, who rotated in and got a lot of experience this year. I know a lot of people are really concerned about the defense next year. I'm not, but it doesn't mean you don't add some excellent pieces should they show up.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio had some really good players on both sides, but obviously welcome anybody that comes in to help make the team stronger. I mean, look at wow, I'm drawing a blank on names. Downs. Look at Downs' example.
Sure.
Ohio State was pretty good on the safety side, but adding him in just makes it that better. A lot of talks with Thieneman from Purdue in the transfer portal.
Who's an elite safety.
An elite safety.
Go, if you don't believe me, go back and listen to the Know Your Enemy Purdue episode. I talked him up the entire show.
Ohio State would be fine. Would be still a really good safety group without him, but adding him in, makes it an elite.
He's a potential All-American player in a competent defense, whether that be Ohio State or somewhere else. Here, Oregon. I've heard Notre Dame, potential other landing spots for him. he's an All-American safety, or at least he would be if he weren't playing at Purdue.
Yeah.
James Williams is one of 2 excellent edge rushers from Nebraska in the portal. James Williams, I think, fits more the mold Ohio State's looking for as far as adding an edge rusher. He's a veteran presence, good against the run. I think with the defensive ends that Ohio State has right now, or will next year, we're talking about next year in this case, I think a veteran run stopping presence is someone who you need to add to the defensive line for sure. And James Williams has had a really long, productive career at Nebraska. And those are the confirmed targets list. I would really like to see Ohio State add at least 3 offensive linemen. I'd love to have Dylan Thieneman, but I don't know if he's a priority. I don't know how much money they're going to have.
But Ohio State does have a lot of room. Remember that the scholarship limit is up to 105 now.
Yes.
Now,
starting next year.
You're not going to find an additional 20 elite players, put them on the team there.
Money's an issue.
And then money is the issue there to try to bring in 20 elite players there. But,
and even if money weren't an issue, like, you're not going to go get 3 of the best offensive tackles out of the portal and all have them come to the same team. These guys want to play, right?
Exactly.
If you sign 2 elite tackles, the third one's not coming, unless of course one of them happens to also be a guard and willing to move inside, in which case, but you know what I'm saying. You can't just, guys aren't going to all sign to one team and not play. So yeah, but like I said, there are a ton of great names out in the portal right now. I know Ohio State fans are feeling certain ways about the field goal kicking game right now. You have Jesus Gomez from Eastern Michigan in the portal right now. You also have Steven Rusnak. Once again, I know I'm mispronouncing that and I apologize. From Charlotte, who is in the portal. I think they would both be great additions. Kyle, Purdue right now has, and going off of the On3 transfer portal ratings, Purdue currently has 4 players ranked 90, a score of 90 or better in the portal right now.
It's a lot. Seems like a lot.
Well, 3 of them were on defense. What the hell was happening in West Lafayette last year? It wasn't the lack of talent.
Coaching matters.
Yeah.
Coaching matters.
That it does, good sir. You have Will Height. You have Thurman Johnson. Coy Beasley. Thurman Johnson's from Northwestern. And then we also talked about Thieneman. The tight end whose name I can't recall. I don't have him in the notes because I don't think he's an Ohio State target. But excellent tight end from Purdue has also entered the portal. And it just insane list of Purdue players in the portal right now. What the hell was happening in West Lafayette last year?
Coaching.
Yeah. Some additional offensive linemen who I'd like. I'm sorry?
Galloway. Tavion Galloway?
No, he's a freshman. Their starter, whose name I still can't remember. Zach? Not Zach, is Gilbert. There you go. Yeah. But regardless, some other offensive linemen I'd like to see Ohio State maybe take a look at, make a run at. I mentioned Xavier Gray, an Ohio kid, plays tackle. Kyle, would you be mad at me if I mentioned a player from you know where? as a potential target for Ohio State? Would that...
You might as well.
Andrew Gentry, offensive tackle from you know where. Also in the portal, I think is a guy who Ohio State should take a look at. Brady Wilson from UAB, although it's probably not going to happen. Tyler Mercer from North Texas, I think is someone who I'd at least give a call. Patrick Kudus, once again, I'm probably mispronouncing that. Could be Kudus. From Arkansas, someone I'd like to see make a call. And I don't know if they've reached out yet to Terrence Moore. Once again, mentioning him. He's a guard from Ohio who just left Pitt. A guy who I'd really like Ohio State to reach out to, for sure. Sometimes I feel like Ohio State doesn't cast a wide enough net for offensive linemen, at least from a recruiting perspective. And I would just like to see them not make that mistake in the transfer portal. I'd hate to see them like hyper focus on just, and it doesn't look like they're doing that. I mean, again, if you look at the screen, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you look at the screen, they have at least contacted 6 separate offensive linemen about coming to Ohio State. One or two of them, I believe, have a schedule. I almost did it again, Kyle. Have a visit scheduled already. So it doesn't seem to be an issue there. I'd like to see them develop some of their recruits. Well, about that, we're going to take a quick ad break. And after we take that quick ad break, we're going to kick the tires on the 2026. I can't talk today, Kyle. Can you put me out of my misery for me? Bang. Just say
bang.
The
Sloopcast, Jared.
I can't talk today.
We are the Sloopcast.
We are the Sloopcast. But, all right, I'm going to try that again. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 2026 class. And this will be our second ever mock class for the 2026 graduating class. I said class twice there. I don't like that. But anyway, let's do an ad break. We'll be right back. We are the Buckeye Sloopcast, as Kyle pointed out. Going to do a quick ad break here. I don't feel like I'm all over my tongue tonight. So patreon.thesloopcast.com to support us financially. Discord.thesloopcast.com. If you love talking about the 2026 class already, and if you love talking about the transfer portal, we are all over that in the Discord right now. We have dedicated channels just for tracking potential Ohio State targets, both from a recruiting standpoint and a transfer portal standpoint. I got the 2026 mock constantly being updated in the Discord server. I got it's not a mock yet. I don't have a full mock yet, but I have a watch list for 2027 up already. So if any of that interests you, if this is the type of episode you like, if this is the type of content you like and you can geek out over, you belong in our Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. Here are those ads now. All right, Kyle, let's jump over to the 2026 mock.
Sure.
All right. For those of you watching on YouTube, the top row is the actual mock. The bottom row is what I call the short list on the Discord server. These aren't guys who I currently have in the mock, but guys who you should keep an eye out for. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'm not even going to address the short list. There's too many names up on the screen right now. I just be reading names. So if you're just listening to this, you're only going to hear the mock. But for those of you watching on YouTube, you can look at the entire thing on the screen if you'd like. You belong in here. If it's not your thing, we'll talk politics. No, we do not talk. Politics is banned on the Discord server. Politics is in fact banned on the Discord server unless I'm doing it, in which case it's okay because it's my server. I'm kidding. I don't do it either. I don't fit in the Overton window. People wouldn't like me too much if I talked politics, but we're not doing that on the show either. Kyle, who do we have as the quarterback?
Guy over at Archbishop Moeller in Cincinnati. We have Matt Penatowski.
Oh,
Uh,
nailed the Pollock name, Kyle. Good job.
I did. Yeah, not rated high right now. He's currently on the On3 rankings here, the 21st in the state of Ohio and 440th nationally. Not rated highly, but
it's gonna go up.
It'll go up as we.
He had a monster playoff
many times that Ohio kids seem to get better rankings later on too. So don't be surprised if you see Matt start skyrocketing up in the recruiting rankings.
And like I said, he had an amazing playoffs, so he's going to get some more eyeballs on him. That's for sure. Yep. And for what it's worth, if he skyrockets too high, Ohio State might not get him. Ohio State has an elite quarterback commit in the 25 class, the 26 class, and the 24 class, the 25 class, and already the 27 class. It's going to make it really hard, especially from a national perspective, to go out and get like another 5-star quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy here. We trade one for a 5-star tackle. That's not how this works yet. Notice I said yet. So yeah, between the freshman class, the class that just signed, and already the 27 class, Ohio State has 3 5-star quarterbacks. Focus on someone at home, lock down someone in Ohio who, might go raging up the boards later. So lock him down now, get in while this, buy low, don't sell high, keep him, but buy low. Wait a minute. Teton got Underwood and a Herb Street. We have a Herb Street too. He's never on the field, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
They take after their dad. who would have never seen the field in the transfer portal era because he sucked. What about running back, Kyle? Who do we have?
Couple of names here.
Can we portal him? Well, he's not on scholarship, Stuart.
Well, whoops, I looked at the wrong one. Well, let's start with the elite one that Ohio State's really going after. Down in Fort Lauderdale, we got Derek Cooper, one of the not just best running backs, but best just prospects out there for the 2026 class here. So it's a fight right now between Miami and Ohio State right now. 6-foot running back. Has all the makings to be a really, really good running back in the college level.
Yeah, number one, as Kyle said, number one currently in the 2026 class. Absolute stud. Ohio State's in really great position for him. That being said, National Signing Day is a long way away. He's a Florida kid. Just because you're in great position now doesn't mean it'll stay that way, but, for right now, we're putting him in the mock.
Yep.
And by the way, real quick, before we move on, I apologize to Zach Herbstreit. I shouldn't be mocking him because of his dad. That being said, I do not apologize to Kirk Herbstreit. There, I feel better now.
All right. The other guy that Ohio State's looking at right now is Shane Alston over at Harvey High School. If you look at it, he's right around 150 nationally here. 6th, 5th in the state of Ohio here. Currently a lot of projections going towards USC right now, but of course it's the early part of recruiting for this class here. But definitely a name to keep an eye out for Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Alston doesn't work out, and I know we're not going to, not doing it, not going into the short list. You can see it on the screen or join us at the Discord server if you want to see the short list. Just we'll run out of time if I jump into the short list for every position. Wide receiver, Kyle. We have 2 commitments here already.
Talked about him a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's going to be maybe the one to break the curse, so to speak, for Ohio State
And Martyr Day.
Recruiting side. Mm-hmm. Yep, Martyr Day. Yep.
Ohio State always is in on
Chris
these Martyr
Henry
Day
Jr.
kids, and then it never works out. But we'll see. He committed.
Chris Henry Jr.
He committed before he went to Martyr Day, so maybe that's what it takes to break the curse. And that, of course, and he from Cincinnati, which obviously helps.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of kids with Ohio ties, Jaden Ricketts has already committed to Ohio State. I think he's underrated right now. I might be biased, to be fair, but he's already committed to Ohio State. I have no reason to think he's going anywhere. I have full confidence he'll still be in the class and sign a year from now. Now, Kyle, there's a kid he's at least from your state. I forget exactly where he's from, but he's at least from your state. I have in the mock.
Charlotte.
I mean, that's close enough,
Charlotte.
right?
Sure.
That's close enough.
Sure.
Okay. Tell us about Brady Keefe.
Yeah, he is not rated highly, but definitely someone that Coach Hartline obviously has an eye out for. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Brody Keefe. He currently he's, which is really odd. Like looking at the rankings here, again, not high, kind of like with Matt that we discussed earlier. 360 on the average here, and the 53rd receiver. And you're probably thinking to yourself, "Hey, Hartline, you can do better than that." Well, there's a good reason. Hartline, when Hartline sees something, he's more often than not, he knows what he's getting into.
I think it's different if a guy's like in the top 50. If a guy's in the top 50, you can take that seriously. Outside of that, I don't take the recruiting rankings a full year from the early national signing period that seriously. Guys will move hundreds of spots between now and a year from now. So you don't get too caught up on like 350 versus 250 or 250 versus 150. They'll move around.
Yep. And Messiah Hampton out of Rochester, New York.
Don't pull a lot of kids from New York. But Messiah Hampton might be that guy.
Now, New Jersey and Maryland, though. And that's a different story.
And Eastern PA, even. You know, it's not like we completely ignore that part. Oh, yeah, a kid from Connecticut not all that long ago who I actually think just hit the transfer portal. So maybe that's not the best example. But, Messiah Hampton, I currently have in the mock. If you're watching this on YouTube, the short list for wide receivers, not very short. It's actually a pretty long list, but I think that the wide receiver can go a lot of different directions still. So if you are getting a little too hung up on the recruiting rankings, know that this is not by any means a done deal. We're a year out. A lot can and will happen. We did one of these, and I haven't watched it yet, and I don't plan on it, but we did one of these last year for the class that just signed. Go watch it and see how wrong we are. I haven't watched it yet. I'm sure we're very wrong in many spots.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle, tight end.
You're the tight end coming back?
Maybe. I'll say this, Kyle, before we talk about Corbin Fordham, who's already committed. I probably should have 2 tight ends in this class. I probably should have 2 tight ends in this class. maybe Braden Fogel, maybe DJ Howerton, maybe PJ McFarland. I probably should have 2 tight ends in this class. I just didn't, because I didn't have a high level of confidence on who that second guy should be. But go ahead and tell us about the guy who I do have in the class, which isn't much of a prediction because he's already committed, but tell us a bit about Corbin Fordham.
Yeah, a lot of teams are already offering him already. You name it, he has an offer already out there. But then you look at the ratings, like here's a great example. The 16th tight end. He's above 300 in the national ranking here. 57th in the state of Florida. Like, why is everybody?
Because you shouldn't be taking
all after him.
Because you shouldn't be taking the ratings that seriously yet. We used to say this all the time, especially when, or like early on in the show when we talk about recruiting. Kyle and I used to say it all the time. Don't pay attention to the ratings. Pay attention to who they have offers from. Now, the recruiting services have gotten a lot better since then, so we stopped harping on that point as much. But when you're a year out, I think we can bring that old phrase back. Especially in the case of Corbin Fordham. Don't pay attention to the fact that he's ranked 300 whatever. Pay attention to the fact that he has a scholarship offer list a mile long from all of the big players in the country. That's what you should be paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle. Let's offensive line. We have titled this
the offensive line.
We have titled this episode "Fixing the Offensive Line." It's time to start carrying some weight here, Kyle. It's time to fix the offensive line. It better be fixed, says Spikes. I have seven offensive linemen in this mock. You know, Austin and I were talking in the Discord this week. Austin, for those of you, he's guest hosted a few times. He's one of the mods, yada, yada, yada. About how Ohio State should be changing their recruiting philosophy in regards to offensive linemen. And this having to do with the fact that they are going to 105 scholarships next year.
The state of Ohio
is a monster class. Monster class for the state of Ohio in regards to offensive linemen. Ohio State cannot fuck this up.
You gotta put that. See, Spikes beat me to that. You gotta build that wall up right now and talk to these players. You gotta get them in here and stay at Ohio State here. Sam Greer, one of the best ones in the state of Ohio for this group here. Max Riley, as well. Adam Guthrie,
great last name. Say the whole thing.
Will Conroy, another one too. I'm just scrolling down here. So yeah. Lot. There's a lot, and all of these are
Laundry Breedy is
top ones.
Laundry Breedy is a guy who's ranked very lowly right now, but he's terribly underranked. Also, they have him listed as a tackle. I think he might be an interior guy, but that's another guy who I think they should add in this class. So, like I said, Austin and I were talking about how you change the strategy up and how you sort of fix the offensive line recruiting. You're getting 30 additional scholarships next year. The offensive line is offensive linemen by far, bar none. No other position is in the conversation. The offensive line is the most difficult position to scout in football. The failure rate for offensive linemen coming into college football is higher than any other position. The success rate of underrated offensive linemen is higher than any other position in college football. The failure rate of first-round draft picks from college football into the NFL is higher for offensive line than any other position. There is no position harder to scout than offensive line. So you get these 30 new scholarships to play with. A bunch of them should be going to offensive line. You should be casting this wide net and start bringing in a ton of offensive linemen, see who plays out and see who doesn't play out. And let the transfer portal do its thing. The guys who aren't going to cut it will hit the portal. The guys who do cut it are already on your team. So now you don't have to go to the portal and try and convince Terrence Moore or Xavier Gray or Tarantayo to leave the school they're at and come here. They should just already be here. Take those 30 additional scholarships you get and just throw 5 of them, like whatever your current offensive line room is, whatever your target scholarship range is for what you think, increase it by 5 next year. Identify. We're fixing the offensive line now, Kyle. We're selling, we're buying, this is the name of the show here. This is how we fix the offensive line. You identify the 5 best offensive linemen in or near the state of Ohio. I'm counting guys like, say, Deron Parks, who's in the 2026 class as well, who's from West Virginia, kind of a tweener tackle guard. Guys from Indiana, guys from Kentucky. Find the 5 best offensive linemen in or near Ohio and lock them down immediately. And then go see if you can grab 2 high-profile national guys. And you start this year. Now, this year is a great year to do it because the Ohio class for offensive linemen is amazing. So this is a really easy year to implement this plan, but they should be doing it even when the recruiting stars aren't there. Spike says, and fire someone. That's beyond the scope of this episode, but yes, Spikes. So Sam Greer, Adam Guthrie, Londre Breedy, Maxwell Riley, Will Conroy, and, we can throw Deron Parks in there too. That's 6 guys in or near the state of Ohio. 6. Go lock them down, all of them, immediately. Yes, 6. Lock them all down immediately. And then also get Micah Smith, who Ohio State has a great relationship with. But if you miss on him, the way you miss on Sanders, well, you still got 6 great offensive linemen who are Ohio, or at least near Ohio, born and bred kids. And you go and you try and get Darius Gray, a kid from Virginia who I have in the mock. And if you don't get him, guess what? You got 6 Ohio kids ready to go. And you don't need all 6 of them to pan out.
These are some big kids.
Yeah, they are.
These are some big kids. I'm just looking at it here.
If Fry doesn't lock down 4 or 5 of them, fire that bitch. I'm not going down a Fry hole today. He shouldn't get an opportunity to recruit them past this season, quite frankly. Quite frankly, he shouldn't have the opportunity to even try.
Sam Greer, Jared?
Yeah.
6'8", 290.
As a junior in high school, mind you. By the way, Sam Greer, what is Sam Greer's overall national rank right now? It's too low.
156.
Too low.
In the industry.
He's a top 100 kid. Fight me. Sam Greer is 100% a top 100 national player. Fight me.
Yeah. Adam Guthrie, 6'7", 280 out of Miami Trace High School. Sam out of Archbishop Hoban.
Yeah. And like I said,
big kids.
Let's keep that one quiet. The secret's out there. The one we have to keep quiet is Laundre Breedy, who might just be Laundre. I might be mispronouncing. This is a Sloopcast. I might be mispronouncing his name. Laundre Breedy's the one we have to keep quiet. Where's he ranked right now, Kyle? It's too low. He's a fantastic football player.
Which one?
I didn't say laundry. I said Laundre. Oh, okay. Bad omen. Breedy, the 4th offensive tackle I have listed in the show notes.
Not rated.
Is he not rated at all? Brede? Yes, he is. I know he is. He might not be rated well. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess he's not rated. See, I told you he was secret. He's from Mentor, Ohio. I'm going to say this. The services have him listed as a tackle. I think he's a guard. I do think he's a guard. But go get him. So secret, he's not ranked. Well, 24/7 does apparently have him, not with a national rank, but at least with a 49th best in Ohio rank. Don't care. Fight me. Well, Jared, he's barely in the top 50 for the same. Fight me. He's a good player. All right, Kyle. That's going to wrap it up for the offensive line and the offensive side of the ball. I'll fight you. Send me your address. I'm not going to dox myself. Kyle, we're going to take another ad break. Then we're going to handle the defensive side of the ball. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Before we do that, Ohio State is getting a visit from Jackson Cantwell, who is the number 1 rated player in the 2026 recruiting class, who happens to be an offensive tackle. I'm not holding out a ton of hope, for the record. Not holding out a ton of hope. But they are getting a visit from the number 1 overall player who's also a tackle. That's happening. Not holding out a ton of hope, but they are at least getting the visit, which is a huge win. Not holding out hope. So is you know who. I'm aware. And a bunch of other schools. All right, but let's do the ads. Guys, we're in full blown. I know the Tennessee game's coming up, but we're in full blown recruiting and transfer portal conversation over at the Discord, discord.thesloopcast.com. Come hang out if you're as nerdy about this shit as we are. You know what? That's the ad. Screw it. That's the ad. Discord.thesloopcast.com. Find all of our other links at thesloopcast.com. Yeah, he is also visiting Michigan. He's also visiting Missouri. There's a few other, I think Oklahoma's on his visit list. The visit list is like 5 or so schools long. I'm not saying hold out a ton of hope for Cantwell, but be aware. All right, Kyle, let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. I'm on the wrong screen.
Yes, sir. I got a new name here when we get to that position here that just came up, Jared. But we will get to it when we get to that position. But we're going to talk with the defensive
does Kyle have breaking
line
news
here. Maybe I might have some things here, but let's start.
Kyle's going to throw me in.
Yes,
yeah,
the tease,
the tease,
little tease here.
That's how you keep viewer retention right there. Like, subscribe, comment.
I know we
YouTube
talked about with the 2026 class here of, can we finally get a recruit from Modern Day? Hey, what about Sean Scott? What about Sean Scott, Jared?
Sean Scott. Listen, I'm not going to get hurt. I have him in the mock right now. I do have him in the mock right now, but I'm not going to get hurt by another Modern Day kid. I have him in the mock right now, but I'm not going to hold out a ton of hope on it. That's all I'm going to say on it. They've burnt me too many times. Not going to hold out a ton of hope, but he is in the mock for right now, at least.
Honestly, I would say the same thing with Andrew Harris as well.
No, I disagree.
All right. Tell me a little bit about about.
Ohio State needs a second pair of twins on the team. Andrew and Aiden Harris from North Carolina are those twins. That's the entire analysis. No, I'm kidding. They were both, I think, visiting for the Michigan game. It's not the Michigan game, the Indiana game. I forget. A lot of positive buzz for both of them. I think they both. It's very rare. It is very rare that the package deal. Players will say, "Oh yeah, we're a package deal." My quarterback and my wide receiver, we're a package deal. It's very, very rarely works out. When it does work out is when they're literal twins. Ohio State got a pair of twins on the offensive line last year. I think they'll get a pair of twins on the defensive line this year. I will say these guys are a bit of tweeners. Andrew Harris, I'm marking as an edge right now. Some people say he's a linebacker. Some people say he's a defensive end. We've had good luck with siblings. Yeah. 3 good borns. We
Bosa's.
Well, only one of them were good. I won't say who. But yeah, I think we bring in the Harris kids from North Carolina. I feel way better about Andrew Harris than I do about Sean Scott eventually ending up in this class. I will say that much.
Well, a lot of good things for Aiden Harris from early looks here, early projections.
Yeah, and
both out of Weddington, North Carolina.
Both. Nope, I'm not going to say that. Nope. People in the chat ask me what I was going to say. I'll tell you after we're done with the show. All right. Yeah. So that's Sean Scott, Andrew Harris, who I have on the edge / defensive end right now. Aiden Harris, I have marked as a defensive tackle. I need to update this graphic. This really should say edge and defensive line. Aiden Harris is maybe a defensive tackle, maybe a defensive end. Andrew Harris is maybe a defensive end, maybe a linebacker. As of right now, and this might change soon, but as of right now, Ohio State's a 4-3. So I have Andrew Harris at defensive end, Aiden Harris at defensive tackle. That could change. Also at defensive tackle, I have Deuce Geralds and Luke Waffle. I feel better about Geralds than I do about Waffle at this time. Geralds is from Georgia, Waffle from New Jersey. I'm actually having a hard. I have Preston Carey down on the short list. I'm having a hard time the past couple years, quite frankly, mocking out the interior defensive line. Actually not doing necessarily all that great with the defensive ends either. Ohio State years past got like pick of the litter a lot of the times on the defensive line, and that hasn't been working out recently. So we'll see. It's got me a little gun shy making predictions along the defensive line, but I do feel really good about the Harris twins. All right, Kyle. Who do we have for linebackers? This is another Ohio loaded, another great spot for the state of Ohio linebackers. Who do we have?
Yeah, trying to pull up the names real quick here. Sincere Johnson.
Yep.
Out of Cleveland, Glenville.
That's right.
Is a name to keep it out of. Glenville's coming back. We said this before. Cleveland, Glenville is coming back. Kenneth Goodwin is another one out in California to keep an eye out for. Storm Miller out of Strongville, Ohio, and the fourth one here is Cam Thomas out of Lakota West down in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Sincere Johnson. I feel pretty good about Kenneth Goodwin. Storm Miller, Cam Thomas. I'll say it right now. Ohio State probably gets one of those two. Probably not both. They're really trying hard to get Tyler Atkinson out of Georgia. Right now, I'm a little pessimistic on that, but like I said, we're a year out. We'll see. Right now, I'm feeling a little. I feel like Atkinson's probably stays in Georgia. That's my feel right now. But like I said, year out, lots can change. But yeah, another strong appearance for the state of Ohio at linebacker. And Kyle, Ohio State past couple years been delivering strong at the cornerback position too. 2026, no different.
Yeah.
Our mock class is 100% Ohio.
Well, before the corners, he's not part of the 26 class here, but I want to jump back to the portal here, and I'd keep an eye out for linebackers.
Okay.
Ohio State did offer this guy back in the 22 class here.
Okay.
Guy committed to the Hoosiers and then played for Oklahoma last year. Deshaun McCullough.
Yeah.
Deshaun McCullough. And a guy to keep an eye out for to see if he's back in the portal. That has 1 year of eligibility left here. So
I feel like Ohio State's pretty set at linebacker right now.
Well,
yeah,
agreed. They like a lot of other positions, but if it's going to help the team, why not make the call? Why not have him come on and take a look around?
Stewart's against it. The
last McCullough turned out pretty well.
All I'm saying, that was McLaughlin.
You're right.
They're similar. They're similar. Right, I'll grant you this. They are similar. I don't know. Ohio State, you look at some of the portal targets, if we're going to take a quick portal break, and people were like, oh, they should go get this guy. I'm like, they don't really need that guy, but he's amazing. Would you say no? It's not a matter of saying no. It's a matter of financial budgeting. Ohio State has a budget. People like to think Ohio State doesn't have a budget. Ohio State has a budget. Is Quinn coming home? Absolutely not. Ohio State has a budget. That budget they've spent a bunch of that budget already bringing kids in for the 2025 recruiting class. You have to spend a bunch more of that budget on keeping guys who are on the roster to stay on the roster so that they don't go to the NFL, so that they don't go to the portal. And then what's left over, or maybe not what's left over, I shouldn't say it that way, but then you have money for the transfer portal. If you want to go get 3 amazing offensive linemen, you can't be spending money on linebackers you don't need. Can't be going and spending money on quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers you don't need. Sure, it would be amazing to go get the best wide receiver out of the portal. But do you want to give up an offensive lineman to do it when your wide receiver room is already amazing? That's the point. There is a budget. Going to outspend Ohio State over under 3.5 Big Ten teams. Michigan might, but it'll look like Michigan's outspending Ohio State, but that's because they don't have anyone on their roster worth keeping right now.
Yeah. All right. Back to the 26.
Oregon will. Oregon already has.
With the corners.
Phil Knight wants to see a national championship before he dies. The man's 87.
We're talking about the state of Ohio having a lot of great offensive linemen. These corners in the state of Ohio, worth keeping here, and try to keep stay in wearing the scarlet and gray. Albert Hill out of Archbishop Hoban. Victor Singleton over at Central Catholic up in Toledo.
I'll say this: I think Hill is
over
a
in
lock.
Avon and Malachi Taylor over in Pickerington North.
I feel fantastic about Hill, Weatherspoon, and Taylor. The Singleton feels like a guy who's willing to go play anywhere. Yeah, Under Armour isn't exactly in great financial shape anymore. Nike, they are not. So I'm not really worried about Maryland or Indiana as far as budgetary things. Like I said, it's going to look like Michigan's outspending Ohio State this year, but that's because they don't have a roster to keep together. So it's going to look like that they do, but not. I don't know what the money is, so I'm not going to say one way or the other. But it's going to look like they're big spending, but it's because their roster sucks. Albert Hill is a guy who I think signs or commits rather relatively soon. I don't necessarily know what Weatherspoon or Taylor's timelines are, or if Ohio State considers Taylor a take right this second, because Ohio State does, the past couple of years, have a really bad habit of slow playing Ohio kids. And I'm really hoping with the scholarship limit going up to 105 that they stop that bullshit.
Yep.
They missed out on a really good defensive end who was loyal to Penn State last cycle because Ohio State slow played him. Ohio State needs to stop slow playing Ohio kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that the 105 scholarship limit and being punished by losing some key players the past couple years helps change that mentality a bit.
Yep, agreed.
With this 105 limit, we need to build a wall. The wall around the state has crumbled the past couple years. Ohio State does not have their own state on lockdown anymore. And that might be NIL. That might be Pantone. That might be Day. I'm not going to say for 100% sure because I don't know, but the wall around the state of the best players in Ohio stay home, which, wasn't always the case. There are always exceptions here or there. The past couple years that has crumbled and it needs to be rebuilt.
Mm-hmm. The 25 class had in the state of Ohio, had some great safeties, maybe not so much for the 26 class. So, Ohio State's going to look outside of the state of Ohio for some safeties here. Ohio State's in really good shape.
Before you, Weatherspoon might be a safety. Just tossing that out there. Okay. Weatherspoon might be a safety. I have him as a corner right now. He might be a safety.
Braylon Womack out in Mississippi, one of the best safeties for the 26th class here.
Ohio State has a really good relationship with him.
Mm-hmm. Simeon Caldwell out in Jacksonville. Ohio State has a lot of contact with him.
I'd hope so. Even over Thanksgiving, maybe. Tim Walton's nephew. I'm hoping that there's a lot of contact there. You can break all of the no contact rules, I think, when it's your nephew, right?
I would think so.
I would hope so.
Jet Washington out in Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
Is a third one that State is in deep contacts with as well.
We already talked about him, Stuart. Hey, Stuart, can you stop dissing your own posts? No one follows those rules anyway. True. Yeah, Womack and Caldwell, I feel really great about right now. I feel good about Jet Washington as well. But, Ohio State has a bit of an inside track, obviously, with Simeon Caldwell, because some position coaches are good enough to get their family to commit to the team. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them. Jet Washington, I feel pretty good about, but not as good as the other two. Now, Kyle, we have
Yeah.
not on the board, but we do have one other player from the state of Ohio who I do have on the mock. I didn't have anywhere on the board to put him. But he is in the mock and he is in our show notes. His name is Jonathan Hewitt. What can you tell us about Jonathan Hewitt, Kyle?
Oh boy, I was not ready for you to talk about him right now.
He's in the notes, Kyle. Jonathan Hewitt Jonathan Hewitt plays one of the biggest pain points, plays at the position of one of the biggest pain points for Ohio State fans right now. And it's not the offensive line.
The kicker.
He is a kicker from the state of Ohio. Pretty good buzz around him. I think Ohio State should sign him. Put the wall around the state. It's time to lock down the state of Ohio again. Can he hit a 50-yarder? I mean, all decent kickers can hit a 50-yarder. It's just, just not necessarily during a game. That's the snap and the fans and the defense. All kickers can hit a 50-yarder in gym shorts.
Your question.
In an empty stadium.
I'll send it to you after the show here. But there's a video of him from last year hitting a 57-yard field goal in high school.
In a game?
As a sophomore.
In a game?
In a game.
Sign him. Does he have an offer yet? I'm not actually asking you, Kyle. Does he have an offer yet? If so, why not? If not, why? Words are hard for me tonight. You get what I'm saying, though. The man hit a 57-yarder in a game, and he's from the state of Ohio. Reclassify him. High school's overrated. You won't miss it. Reclassify.
Well, there was a kid a couple of years ago who was hitting 50 yards from the state of Ohio, and Ohio State didn't go after him. So
he's at Marshall, right?
He's at Marshall right now. Yeah.
Someone needs to get in Hewitt's ear and tell him to reclassify. That's all I'm saying. High school's overrated. You don't need it. You have a couple months. No one cares about high school. You won't even remember it in a few years. Trust me. You think high school is important until like 3 months after you're gone. And then it doesn't, because we don't recruit kickers. 105 scholarships. It's time to start recruiting kickers. 105 scholarships. And I'm 30 scholarship increase. We can spend 1 or 2 on a in-state kicker who hit a 57-yarder in a game. My goodness, sign 3. No, 2. Limit it 2. We need to start signing 10 offensive linemen a class.
He was at the Ohio State game.
Yeah, he was.
A couple of weeks ago.
He was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm having fun here. Although you seriously don't need high school.
Georgia the week before that too.
Yeah, he's very good. I don't know. I don't track offers that closely. I don't know if he has an Ohio State offer yet or not. But I'm just saying, reclassify. High school sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
So,
am I kidding? Maybe. I mean, high school does suck. I'm not kidding about that part. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm not kidding. Someone convinced Jonathan Hewitt to reclassify and join the roster yesterday. Hell, no, I want him all 4 years. Don't do that. I'm just saying reclassify and join the 25 class. You have until February. It's not that hard.
A lot of these like on 3 and
they don't
24/7
they don't rate kickers.
They don't rank. So there's a couple out there that do rate kickers. Like I'm familiar with this one called Cole's Kicking, which is just one of many out there that rates kickers and punters. And they rated him, Jonathan Hewitt, as the number 3 kicker.
Underrated.
In the 26 class.
I'm an expert in college or in high school kicking, and he's underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I know who the other 2 guys are. You don't have to tell me. I know their names. I know how to pronounce their names. That's how you know I'm telling the truth. Hewitt's better. All right, Kyle. Did you say you had a surprise for us, or was that?
I did already.
Oh, okay.
I did already.
That was McCullough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kyle. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I believe the Ohio State social media hinted out that for the Ohio State Tennessee game,
yeah,
Ohio State's going all scarlet.
Now, is that they're asking the crowd to do that? That the uniform's going to be that, or both? I know they just tweeted a bunch of red emojis. The tweet's not going to tell us anything.
Probably that, but it could be just a scarlet out type of thing too.
Spikes is insisting it's both. I'm going to believe Spikes because it's what I want to believe. Spikes is telling me what I want to hear. Therefore, I'm going to assume he's right.
Neither.
All right. Anything else in Kyle's corner?
Good luck to the Ohio State men's soccer team, the national semifinals against Marshall. And if they win this Friday, they play in the championship on Monday.
Yeah, an unfortunate incident involving a Ohio State soccer player who was unfortunately shot. He's okay, for the record. I mean, he's not in I actually don't know all the details on it, but he's not in life-threatening condition. So, but I don't know all the details there, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but hopefully everything works out for he and the team on that. Yeah. And anything else, Kyle, in Kyle's corner?
No, I think that's it. I think we're good.
All right. Tonight's, and they'll also have Grace. Oh, wait a minute. Ohio State will be wearing their scarlet colored rush uniforms as Ohio Stadium will have a scarlet out for the game. Cool. With the playoff sleeves. I mean, we should always wear the playoff sleeves, but that's a well explored territory for us on the show. All right. Anything else, Kyle?
I think we're good.
All right. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a Columbus-based band called Courtney from Work. Once again, the name of the band is Courtney from Work. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Courtney from Work.